Hey everybody, welcome back to the Comic Wall. It's your girl, the Outcast Angel, and today let's talk about issue 6 of Nick Spencer's The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, this is a different, I guess, story arc in, well, obviously in the series, but not only is it a different story arc, it's being handled by different artists. Ryan Otley and Cliff Rathburn aren't the uh, artists for this story arc right now. Rather, it's now uh, Humberto Ramos as the penciler, Victor Olazaba, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it, as the inker, Edgar Delgado as the colorist, and still VC's Caramagna. I'm sorry, I butcher your names like crazy. As well, the letter and um yeah, I mean, this was a pretty interesting issue, and I know I'm getting it out so late with issue 7 already coming up around the corner. I'm sorry. I have a lot of comics coming out, a lot of comics that I'm reading, a lot of comics that I have to do for the channel. So for sure it helps when you guys let me know in the comments how badly you want me to review these comics. I know most of my subscribers have been pretty silent, and also big thing, thank you all so much for I have hiccups like crazy. I can't do a video without having hiccups. Thank you all so much for helping us as a community reach over 120 subscribers. I honestly didn't think I'd be able to get this channel off the ground, but you guys really made it happen, and I just have to say thank you so much for that. And I don't know, maybe if you guys want me to do some kind of, I don't know, if I'm able to hit 150 within the month or something, which is kind of a stretch. But if I'm able to hit 150 subscribers within a month, maybe I'll do some kind of special video or something, or maybe something not comic related, and just, I don't know, just be goofy or something, you know. Anyway, yeah. So that's said and done. Anyway, we start off with this car chase going on with this guy in this really nice car, one thing. And of course, Spider-Man's monologue is saying, we all owe somebody something, and that's not always a bad thing. Each of us gets help along the way, sometimes from those we love, sometimes even from perfect strangers. It's expected that we pay those kindnesses back to them and then onto others. But other kinds of debt aren't so good. What is that? Oh, it's a water bottle. And paying those debts back isn't always so easy. If you don't stay in front of it, um, it's easy to wind up in over your head. And this guy pulls out a gun and starts shooting behind him, whoever's chasing him. Turns out it's the Hawk. At least. Oh no, it's Vulture. I'm sorry. It's Vulture, and he grabs this guy. What's his name? Dougie out of the car, and he's dangling him like several few, well, a good amount of feet in the air, um, and he's obviously pissed. But then he starts hearing a voice, a tiny little voice saying, "Don't kill us! It's us down here. The barbecue sauce stain on Dougie's t-shirt. We've achieved sentience in the year. Wait, what year did that Sugar Ray Fly song come out?" And uh, Vulture's just like, "Oh, shut up! Like, what trickery is this?" Turns out it was a black ant uh, in this microscopic size, tricking him out. And then Taskmaster comes in and blasts him, um, and was it blasts him out of the sky, ultimately killing Dougie because he falls without much cushion to stand on. And as they bag up Vulture, Taskmaster is saying Klein's paying a pretty penny for this one. Tag him and bag him. And Black Ant says, "Amen to that, Tasky. Can't wait to see who's the next on the list." And then we see Peter and MJ making out like the little cuties they are, and and Spider-Man's monologue comes back in saying, "Yeah, that sounds like something I should take care of, but right now I have slightly more pressing concerns." And sure, I get what you might be thinking. Spider-Man can't stop a couple of supervillains because he's too busy making out with his supermodel girlfriend, which is partly true, but there's more to that, I promise. And turns out, as Peter and MJ are making out, Fred, or Boomerang, is watching very creepily from the doorway, and we get more background on Boomerang, how we first met him in the free comic book day issue for this year, and um, and Fred's being kind of like the annoying little brother or sister that tries to get be in the room when you're trying to be with your boyfriend or your girlfriend or something, you know. And I know because I was that annoying little sister, so like I'm sorry, it was just it just seems so funny. Anyway, turns out we get more background on Boomerang. When Hydra took over the United States, um, Fred used the opportunity to turn himself into a big mob boss, running black markets, handing out favors for a price. Um, he helped out the good guys who were uh, illegal freedom fighters at the time, and meaning when Hydra got overthrown, he cashed in those debts, earning himself a complete pardon for every crime he'd ever committed. Now, even the Kingpin keeps letting him off the hook for some reason, which the Kingpin is kind of using him as a pawn in certain games, you know? And, um, and yeah, just Fred's being just trying to be in the room with MJ and Peter. It just seems so dumb, you know. It's like I really don't think he's that much of a sleaze bag that he's trying to like impress MJ over Peter, you know. Anyway, Peter suspects something of Fred, which of course he's always been suspicious of him. But he follows him to a secret hideout where he and two other supervillains are playing poker, and several more show up, and they they have a an interesting I guess deal going on. They like whenever they get together on poker night, there's no business. Those are the rules, and it's surprising they follow rules at least to a certain extent. Anyway, um, what's it about? Peter and Robbie start talking about how Peter's suspicions of Fred may be a little, um, I guess, I guess a little biased or just a little unfounded. Like he doesn't really have a good, he doesn't really have a good foundation to do that. You know. Anyway, um, Fred comes in and starts, you know, like just chatting up and starts talking about a certain, I guess, fight between Spider-Man and oh well him Boomerang, and that's when Peter starts to say how like hey that's not true. Like of course Peter is Spider-Man, so he knows everything about him. But Robbie brings up that Pete used to be Spider-Man's personal photographer. He even had a book published of his work. And then that's when Fred says, "You need to come with me." And then an hour later, Boomerang is dressed up in his uniform, and He turns out he's brought Peter to this place called, what is it called? Uh, I can't find it. Oh, the bar with no name. And we see all these supervillains lined up and packed up into this bar, and turns out this bar has been, some say it's been around, it's as old as time, founded by the devil himself. And I like how here we see Thanos and Death in the background. And then we it goes into more of a like a noir background here, where it says more than likely it got its start as a speakeasy during the Depression. It had its ups and downs and even unspeakable tragedies, like the time the Scourge rolled through. That was something. But now, it's all the modern supervillains and everything. And Peter's pretty pissed that Boomerang has brought him in. Um, but while he's trying to figure out why he's here, why Boomerang brought him here, um, Electro or Electra rather, um, one of one of the original Electro's I guess assistants or something, who kind of took over his um his what's the word, I guess, his battle or whatever, or his powers essentially. She's obviously pissed that Boomerang kind of screwed her over, but of course there's no violence in the bar with no name. There's no violence, there's no business, that all stays outside. And I just kicked my table. um but then we see that the real reason why Boomerang brought Pete here is for Spider-Man trivia night. And of course, this is the reason why, because of course Peter is such a well, obviously an expert on Spider-Man because he is Spider-Man. This should be like an easy win for him. And so a lot of the villains can't answer these questions. So Peter's kind of just like, oh, are you serious? Get out of my way. I'll do this. And then like he kind of shows off a good amount. It's like he says like some of his more famous arch enemies, like Dexter Bennett, Professor Vasquez with the Erskine papers, Willow the Wisp. Just he got really carried away. And then after a while, we see Boomerang in the restroom talking on a stolen phone, and turns out it's Mayor Fisk. Now, turns out Fisk has hired a Boomerang for some kind of personal business, but Boomerang's kind of bored of it now, up to the point saying that that he's ready to, or he's in the process of wanting to kill Spider-Man, which is like every other villain's mission. And so he ends up saying like, I got the cards here, so you tell the mayor I just doubled my price, and soon I'll get a calculator so I can figure out how much that is. And he's like, I said good day, sir. And he throws the phone in the toilet. And that's when we realize that it was actually Peter's phone. Anyway, he comes back to Peter in the bar, and turns out Peter has actually won the trivia night. And everyone's pretty like surprised by this, and they're all celebrating and cheering and everything. But we cut away from that for a minute to see Mayor Fisk getting pretty pissed that Boomerang kind of blew him off. And that's when he says, we've tried the carrot, now it's time for the stick. Let everyone in that bar know. Wilson Fisk wants Fred Myers' head on a plate. First one to deliver it scores the prize. But then his assistant says, but sir, that's the first row of the bar with no name. As long as he's there, he's on safe ground. No criminal in their right mind would betray that. But Fisk says, oh, they will, once they see what I have to offer. And every villain in that bar gets a text message from Mayor Fisk, obviously showing the amount that he's willing to pay for Fred Myers' head. And they all seem to be crowding up on him, unbeknownst to him. So where is this gonna go? And I mean, obviously we're gonna see tomorrow. Hopefully I can get the video up by Friday, and this video will be up by tomorrow. I guarantee that. And so with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys liked it, and if you did, drop a like, show the love, hit that subscribe button to get more of my videos, ring the bell to get notifications when I post new videos, so that way you guys stay updated and don't miss out. And I just can't wait to see where this goes, because this was a very interesting setting for Spider-Man and Boomerang to have to be in. So it was just a really interesting video to say, or issue to say the least. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.